Hello souls. I have a practice that I do every day where I really tune in and I ask, the universe, God, source, whatever word you use, I ask, how can I best serve today? How can I best serve, myself and the collective? And whatever comes through, I always follow that because I know that it is from this higher source that is guiding me. And today, today I was guided, and they're always usually the most little, small, simple things, but today I was guided to make a video about something that ignites my soul fire, is the words that were specifically channeled to me. And so I was sitting with a few different topics that I could have gone over today, and what really resonated with me as one that I would love to talk about today is actually the concept of traveling, and why a lot of people on the spiritual path or the spiritual journey are so drawn to traveling and create these lives, essentially where we have our own business and we just travel. So I really wanted to get to get into that. It's such an interesting, unique topic, but yeah, traveling is something that ever since I was younger really sat within me and resonated with me as the most important thing to do on this planet. Traveling was something that always lit me up and excited me to see new places, to do new things, to meet new types of people, to really notice and experience the different cultures around the world and see how they operate in difference to how we operate, where we just come from, where we lived for our whole lives. And I feel like traveling is so essential for those on the spiritual path and spiritual journey, because we have this desire to expand. And it's so funny, there's an airplane going above me right now as I'm talking about this. I feel like those on the spiritual path, we want to expand, we want to live freely. And I believe that when speaking about traveling and freedom are always very together. We want to have that freedom to travel wherever we would like to within the entire world. And I feel like this is just the most expansive thing for somebody who's on the spiritual path, because you're constantly getting to, one, live in this total freedom of just going to all these different countries and having these new experiences, but two, it really helps you unify the wholeness. It helps you bring the idea or the concept of oneness into totality, into wholeness. And I say this because when you travel to all of these different cultures and places around the world, you're able to see that while we may look different or do things differently, we're all human and we're all part of this one earth. And so I feel like it's such a great way for those who are spiritual to really feel into the oneness. I also feel like with traveling and those who are spiritual, it is something that is just especially those who are spiritual and more so on the starseed end of things, it really reminds us of the freedom that we've had before the limitations that kind of boxed us in. It makes us feel this feeling of absolute freedom. And I feel especially for those on the starseed spectrum of things, it really reminds us of, it is pausing. I just figured I'd pause through the noise instead of try to talk over it. But I feel like it really reminds us of traveling in light ships and going to different planets and seeing new things. I feel like it's so inspirational to those on the spiritual path, because it also can bring up, traveling brings up so much different wounds for us to heal. And those who are on the spiritual path mostly do, the inner work, the shadow work, the work that has to be done. And so it's incredible to get to have those experiences triggered by the different places that we go. And then I wanted to add this one thing that is kind of the unconscious, subconscious, why those who are on the spiritual path are more drawn to traveling. what actually happens when somebody who is of a higher frequency travels is that we are carrying our light wherever we go. Essentially, we're distributing our unique frequency with the rest of the world. So if we are, say we're from like a small town in like America, like one of the states, and we travel to Bali, for example, we are bringing our unique frequency, and really throughout the airplane, throughout the airports, and throughout the entire airplane journey, we're spreading and seeding our light unconsciously. And so what this does is it spreads our frequency, spreads this higher fifth dimensional frequency through the entire planet, which is just so powerful. Not only this, but there are various places around the world that actually, when we go to them, we are clearing the grid, we're clearing these lower frequencies from within the ground, within the grid. I'm just going to pause again. I don't know if it's picking up on film, but I feel like it might. I live somewhere where there's a whole bunch of motorcycles that will go on the weekends. But yeah, we're really lifting that third dimensional grid wherever we go. So again, for example, say we're from just like a town in the UK and we travel to Australia. When we're there, unconsciously, we are lifting the grid, we are lifting lower frequencies and embedding our fifth dimensional frequency within. So it's like an unconscious feeling that anybody who's really highly spiritual or evolved just wants to travel, or they feel like they need to travel. Like you feel like it's like literally part of your purpose and mission to travel, which is very resonant with me. I felt that for the majority of my life. I also feel like it's spiritual in itself to travel. It is very much so. It's very much so this there's so many. There's very much so this higher level of awareness and knowledge and wisdom that comes from experiences while traveling, because when we're experiencing new things and new experiences, we oftentimes, and this goes back to the inner work that I was mentioning, wherever we're going, there are going to be particular things that we've created to help us, evolve even more. And so when we're traveling, we are opening ourselves up to new experiences and new ways to evolve. If we're just staying in the same spot, we become stagnant as highly spiritual evolved people. We need new experiences. We need to go different places in order to fulfill our mission. So I would really say that intrinsic to spirituality and the spiritual mission is traveling. They go hand in hand. It's it just makes sense. And especially with the inward travel, the inward journey, when we connect to ourselves, when we connect with Source, it's that connection to Source is manifested externally through our traveling. Yeah, I think that's all I have to say about that topic. But yeah, I absolutely love traveling. I'd be interested to know if any of you guys have the same level of passion for travel as me, and let me know in the comments, the top 3 places that you've ever traveled to. I'll tell you mine. I've only gotten to travel a few times since I've woken up, so they're not, all of mine aren't the most heavily spiritual places, but number 1 for me is Mount Shasta, obviously, spiritual vortex. Second would be Paris. I actually came up in my dream the last night. That one was just the most spiritual experience for me before I was even awake, of just expanding and seeing these new cultures and these people who are so different from where I come from, how they exist, how their culture works. It was so expansive and interesting to the conscious awareness. And then third, I definitely have to say anywhere with an ocean. Anywhere with an ocean. So for me, the places that I've gone with an ocean are just like Santa Monica, which is definitely more of a city, but that definitely like has a place in my heart. There's so much, like what I was saying, right, is there's so much evolution and different things that trigger in the different parts of the world we go to. For me, if I'm ever in Santa Monica or if I'm ever in LA, that area for me triggers deep levels of self-empowerment that rise within me. It's like these different pinpoints of the world awaken different parts of ourselves, and it's like if we never go to them, these parts of ourselves never get the opportunity to wake up. Yeah. Okay. Let me know in the comments the top 3 places you traveled to and like a spiritual lesson that you've learned from all of them. Hope everybody has a great day. Sending you love, blessings, and peace.